What's up, guys? Today we're looking at percents. And a percent is just a ratio, which we learned about ratios in the past video. And it compares a number to 100. So 25% equals 25 over 100. And percents play a big deal. I mean, percents is really one thing that everyone has probably seen, just for the fact that money is such a big deal. And stores, to get you to spend money, make deals where they take a certain percent off. So let's take a look at some examples. So let's say that you found a shirt that was $20, but they have a 20% off sale. So it's 20%. So you want to find how much money you'd save. So we're trying to find 20% of 20. And to do that, remember 20% is written as a ratio to 100. So that's the same as 20 over 100. And to get that in decimal form, that would just be 0.2. So another way of doing that, from getting to 20% to 0.2, is when you have a percent like 20%, the decimal place is right here, you move it 2 places to the left. So if we had 40%, it'd be 0.4, or 5%, it'd be 0.05, and the percent goes away at that point, because then that's how we plug it into the calculator. So that's just a quick look at it. So again, I'm going to take 0.2 and then of, remember of always means multiply. So 0.2 times 20. So then we could either do that in our head or on the calculator, and we're going to get that equals 4. So it's going to be $4 off, so then you would pay 20 minus 4, so you'd pay $16. Now percents are a great tool to use when just going in a store and you're comparing prices. I mean, I use them all the time because I hate spending money, and I guess it's the college student in me. And so I'm checking deals, comparing prices, and once you get a knack of percents, you can just do it all in your head. You don't even have to pull out the calculator. And also tips. You go to restaurants and you want to tip, you don't have to, you can just do it in your head. And one way that I do it is, a lot of things, you'll never see something as 13% off. You'll see 15% off, 25% off, 20% off. And so what I do is I break things up into 10%, because 10% is the easiest way to take something off. So if you have, let's say that you have 25, and you want to find 10% of 25. So that'd be 0.1, because I moved the decimal 2 places to the left, of, which is multiply 25. And that will equal 2.5. So if you noticed, all we did to get 10% of 25 is just move the decimal place 1 to the left of 25. So 10% of 30 would equal 3. So how do we use that in our head? And this is just a little mental math lesson. Let's say that something is 25% off. And the item that you're looking at is, let's say, $59.99. Now, if I was there, I would just go ahead and round that up to $60. And so let's do 25% off $60. Now, what you can do is pull out your calculator on your phone, because everyone usually has a phone nowadays, and do 0.25 times 60. Or you can just think, well, 10% of 60 is 6, because I moved that decimal place 1 to the left. So 10% of 60 is 6. So how would we get to 20%? We'd multiply So to get to 20% from 10%, we multiply by 2. So we just multiply 6 times 2. So 20% of 60 would equal 12. So we multiply 6 times 2. Now how would we get to 25%? So we're adding another 5% on. 5% is half of 10%. So half of 6 was 3. So we're going to add 3 on there and get 15. So 25% of 60 would equal 15. And so you could check that in your calculator, but that would be right. So we're taking $15 off. So the price that you would pay is $45. And that's just how you do it in your head. You just break down percents. Because it's either going to be ending in a 0 or a 1, or a 0 or a 5. It's going to be ending in a 0 or 5 in most stores. All right. So let's look. So that's just taking percent off a number. We can either multiply it by its decimal form or use our head to break down the percents into 10% increments and 5% increments and add them together. And that's how I do it in my head when going to stores or to restaurants. Like if I want to tip 20%, I just break it into 10 and multiply it by 2. If I want to tip by 15%, I break it in half. I take 10% and then break 10% in half and add those two together. And that's how much I'd add on as a tip. So let's look at a different way to do it. So what about if they ask, what percent of 60 is 15? So we use a little formula equation. I'm not sure what you want to call it, but we do it part over whole equals percent over 100. And actually this equation would work for the first few examples that I used, but that's just kind of a roundabout way of doing it when really I would want my students and I'd want you guys to see how percents work rather than just always having to remember an equation, because what good is knowing that equation when you're standing in a store wanting to know what the price of the item is on sale. And if you see how percents work, you can do that in your head, but here you'll need to use this equation when you figure out what percent of 60 is 15 until you get the hang of it. So part over whole. And the other way to do it, I've seen it done, is over of equals percent over 100. And all that is doing, you pick the number that's after is, and it goes there, the number that's after of, and it goes there, and then percent over 100. 100 is always going to be there because percent is always over 100. And I kind of like the part over whole because you see what it is, but if is over of helps, power to you. So here we're going to look. The part is 15. And I knew that because the whole, what percent of 60 is the whole. And if you look, 15 is after is, 60 is after of, is over of, equals, we don't know the percent, so we're going to call that x over 100. So let's cross multiply. So 60x equals 1500. We're going to divide by 60 on both sides. This 0 cancels, this cancels. X equals, and then we just have 150 divided by 6, which would be 25. So x equals 25, but what were we looking for? We were looking for what percent of 60 is 15. So 25%. So 25% is our final answer. So 25% of 60 is 15. And they can just maneuver that around. They'll ask you different ways, like 40% of what number? is 14. So let's fill it out in our formula again. I'll scroll up so you can see it real quick. Part over whole equals percent over 100. Well, we know the percent, 40. And 100 is always there. And let's look, part over whole. What is the part? 14 is the part, and you can also use the is over of, because 14 is after is, so it's going to go up top. And then the whole is x, because we don't know we don't know the whole. So we'd cross multiply. We'd get 40x equals 1400. And then we divide by 40 on both sides. Our zeros cancel, this cancels. We're left with x equals 140 divided by 4, which will be 35. So 40% of 35 is 14. And that's what, there's going to be a few questions about that. Once we go into applications, you'll see how we apply that. So thanks for watching. It was a longer video. I threw in a little mini mental math lesson. Sorry. I hope it helped. Leave some comments, request some more videos, stop by the website. Thanks for watching.